20-ounce. $92. So come on down or call and order now and experience our tasty oven baked goodness. Domino's, the home of satisfaction.
Or hot and wild, call Domino's.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our show right here on ZLIZ Radio 96.1. It's now time to shift gears, so to speak, get away from the early morning shenanigans and put on a serious hat and address some serious concerns here in the studio with Sergeant McGuire, who's no stranger to the studio. As a matter of fact, he was just here yesterday morning for On the Road, and he's in charge of traffic. Right? You're in charge of traffic, correct?
Well, there is a superintendent and an inspector.
Oh, okay then. All right.
I'm just the operational supervisor.
Okay, great. Thank you for making that known.
Right. Yes.
Okay. But you're here this morning under which hat now?
I am here under the a different hat that is policing with you, and. This morning, we are going to talk about environmental crimes.
Okay. Any specific aspect of environmental crimes?
Well, specifically, we will, because environmental crime is a very wide topic, GQ. It has global impact, global effect, global connections. And so to localize it and to bring it closer home, we will talk about some of the things that we do that affects the environment, in particularly like illegal dumping and the disposal of waste,
right,
solid waste and those kind of things. So that is what we will bring it closer down. But to set a framework of the topic, the discourse, is that it's important to talk about environmental as issues as really an international issue, because whenever you are talking about the environment, it has all kind of different aspects. It touches all kind of different aspects. The wildlife, deforestation. It touches in relation to you have like the marine life, and bring it down to the land in terms of spillage, waste, and those kind of things and so forth. So in the context, environmental crime, everything comes together. Some of it may not directly relate it to us from a local standpoint, because we are not like the developed countries where you have industrialized pollution and those kind of things. So we don't have that kind of thing, but we are still affected. You look at the climate changes as a result, as an effect of these impact. And so the thing about it, apart from it affects the global ecosystem, there is a public health component to it that might have a direct relation to us in relation to how we dispose of our waste, and the type of waste and the importance of make sure that it is properly disposed of, and so that you can minimize the health impact, the health effect from a national standpoint, from a community standpoint, and from an individual standpoint.
Okay.
So it is very that. And we know when you put it all together, there is always an economic aspect of it in relation to there is a cost to everything. And so locally,
Right.
it has bringing it home. There must be a civic responsibility. And so in dealing with environmental crime, it means therefore that each citizen must display that citizenry, that national pride, and becoming a stakeholder in the effort and ensuring that what we do, our behavioral conduct by way of disposal, that it does not have that kind of impact on the environment that will reaches to the community, reaches to the national economical impact or the health impact individually from the home standpoint of the home. Yeah.
And I could understand why you're keeping it vague, so to speak. I know
Yes.
this is not your. Well, then again, let me ask: is this?
Yes.
I know there are different roles when it
Right.
comes to police,
yeah.
right?
This is not my area.
Okay.
But because we are speaking about environmental crimes, and most of the time the prosecution or the enforcement comes back to the police, and so we are stakeholder. In fact, when laws are being made, police officers by ex officio, in terms of, like, for example, litter wardens, police officer ex officio are litter wardens. And so the enforcement aspect always points back to the police.
Okay.
But we recognize that this is a wholesome effort. So it means, therefore, the various ministry, like the Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Health,
Right.
solid waste, even NGOs, there has to be a nexus and a community together, a full and a holistic approach
Right.
in
Because
relation
it
to
affects
the
water,
enforcement.
food,
Yes, it
animal.
hinges on
Yes,
every
yes,
aspect
yes.
of life.
Right.
And so what we must understand is that in understanding the environmental crime and how the law addresses these violations is essential. It's to foster accountability and also sustainable development.
Right.
And we know that from a national strategy that we what we call there are efforts to make us what they call it again, a sustainable island state. Right. That is the whole overall strategy from a national standpoint.
Right.
And so that is the framework in terms of arriving that it has to have that ability. The strategy has to be of such that it fosters that individual responsibility, that accountability in terms of that.
Now, let me jump in here real quick,
Yeah.
because this is an insight for me. I mean, I've heard of it before, but I've never looked at it from the angle that it's being policed by police as well. You know, I thought there were different agencies involved who
Right.
was handling that and then would call police.
Right. Well, the thing about it, one of the strategic pillars of the police force is collaboration with other agencies. What we have found is that even though some of these agencies are the ministries, they have the direct or the sole responsibility in terms of the monitoring, the policing aspect of it for the enforcement. It is sometimes more or less pushed or left for the police. And it is so kindred to the point that police almost cannot
Like, no.
afford to have a role to play.
Oh, okay.
Because even with the prosecution, the prosecution comes back to the police in relation to prosecuting. So let's suppose that the Ministry of Environment, for example, are prosecuting persons, violators. The prosecution is done by the police. It just means that the police will have to obtain what we call a fiat from the whether the ministry itself, to prosecute on behalf. Bearing in mind too, that the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution has the overall prosecutorial control.
Gotcha.
And so once the Director of Public Prosecution would see the need to prosecute on a matter, it's always delegated back to the police because most of it, unless if it is indictable, most of it from a summary standpoint, the police generally deals with the prosecution of that.
So let me ask this then. What are common or most examples that can lead to prosecutions?
Right. So as I said that the most common one that affects us is the illegal dumping. And when I say illegal dumping, is where where persons are using other places or non-designated areas for dumping. So you have the solid waste management, the disposal site, and that is the only recognized, official, nationally recognized area for disposal of waste, be it plastic, be it household item, be it vehicle, or whatever form of that. You go through a process. What we find happens that to unload the cost, the payment, some people short circuit that and they will look at for isolated areas where it's less seen there is any compromise of culpability, and so they use that opportunity to dump. Just recently I was driving through from the daycare at the industrial site, so I took the range area to get back at Pan Road, and in driving through there, now that the road is clear, you see where people used to make that a litter site. Now this is not something that approved by the Ministry of Environment or Health or neither from solid waste. And so that is what make it illegal. And it means, therefore, the prosecution of actions like those is difficult because, like anything else, a man is innocent until proven guilty. That's our standard bearer in terms of law. That even though you're seen doing something, you are still presumed innocent until you, with the presentation of evidence that there is sufficient, there is beyond reasonable doubt that you are responsible for the act that you are being
So
accused
investigation.
So in anything, there has to be some form of investigation. There has to be a process that will lead up to the prosecution. And so if you do not have any system of monitoring, if you do not have like covert operation, if you do not have the willingness of persons coming forth as witness, and this is one of the things why most of these crimes are being propagated, because people are unwilling to hold each other accountable for illegal action. And that is why there is always a need for that nationalism, that national pride, that intolerance for actions and behaviors like this. And one way how that can be displayed is when people are willing to hold people accountable for wrong actions.
All right.
Yeah.
Can I ask where are some common places that you've seen illegal dumping being done?
Right. I just alluded to the area. It's mostly evil. There is I remember one morning I was going walking up at Eloise and then just to get around to go back to where you will take the bypass to end up by Rams. People dump any area that seems isolated or overgrown.
So there's no general area to say that, okay, this is an area that let's keep an eye out for this area because it's known.
That's what makes it so difficult. That's what makes it so difficult, because there are lots of areas that are uncultivated or all uninhabited. And so people take advantage of these isolations, and they are less seen, less likely to be seen. And so that is what happened. And so maybe from the environmental standpoint, or the ministry or solid waste, they might have to be incorporated in a strategy as to how they are going to solicit and get persons to become active participants in the monitoring process. And so that can help with the reduction of these illegal dumping.
Let me ask this. Obviously, people who are doing it don't see that as, hey, I'm just throwing away garbage. They don't see it as anything significant in terms of doing anything major or a crime. Why is it important not to do that, but to go to the designated area to dump your garbage?
The only thing I can assume sometimes, because the solid waste operate, I don't think they open on a weekend. I'm not certain. And so it depends on when you have your garbage. And so if you want to get rid of it, you see it as an opportunity. Persons see it as an opportunity.
Okay.
But it seems as though that most people do it to evade the cost, the payment at the dump. And usually it is not really that high, because sometimes you go, depends on the vehicle, and then you go on the scale and you weigh and tell you $10, $15, and so forth. And so it begs the question as to why would one want to risk paying a $500 fine if I'm successfully prosecuted, or you can be fined up to $20,000 within the act. Why people will want to risk that than rather doing it the right way and pay a minimal cost.
We'll get back to that. Hi, good morning. You're live.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Greetings to you again.
Yes.
Question. What is waste? What is the meaning of waste? Can you hear me up
Yes, yes, I'm hearing you.
What is the meaning of waste? W-A-S-T-E. What is the meaning of that?
It's interesting that you asked that, because I looked up the definition, and I think I have it in my notes. But it's generally summarized as refuse, things that you don't have any use for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, as human beings, when we go to the toilet, what are we getting rid of?
Well, I would say we call it waste, because that is what the body refuses.
Good. Does it matter? Does the waste matters, or getting rid of it matters?
Both. I will say both.
You will say that the waste matters?
Yes, the waste matters, because the thing about it, there are things from time to time. Everything has a life and a time, a useful time. It becomes spent after a while. And then when it becomes spent, what do you do with it? So you have to dispose of it. And so waste matters, and the disposal of the waste also matters. The problem that we are having is the manner in which the waste is being disposed of.
Okay, I heard you. Now, I would like to differ. Waste do not matter. That's why we go to the toilet. That's why we get rid of it, because it do not matter. No, we go to the toilet to get rid of feces and what the other thing is, I don't want to say. Anyhow, pee. Yes, because if we do not do that, we know the consequences. It do not matter. What matter is getting rid of it.
So what is the point, caller? What are you trying to
My
make?
point is-
Yes.
My point is that the motto that solid waste is having at this point in time, it needs to change. It is encouraging nastiness. It is even encouraging obesity. Listen, we have to be sensible and intelligent people. Now, you talk about designated place a while ago. The drains around and about in Bastia. Let's start with Bastia. Are they designated places? It is said, it is said, small trash, blind eye. You're talking about Cane Range. Let's talk about our immediate environment in Bastia. The drains, the streets, the drains, the alleys.
Do you realize that the drains are the result of the irresponsible disposal of waste, and then when it rains, everything travels and then end up in the drain? Do you realize that?
You're asking me if I realize that?
Yes.
Officer,
Yes.
we are very observant, and we reach to a point where we get fed up of the nastiness that goes on in Bastia and the rest of round and about. Yeah? And the point that you made and others continue to make about Capefield Range and in the bushes and here and there, yes, we agree with that. But once you are right in your eyesight under your noses, hey, no, you are not serious about keeping the environment as it ought to be kept, You are not serious.
Well, caller, forgive me for interrupting, but the thing about it, that's why we're here, because what we are encouraging as the topic deals with environmental crimes, and crime only come about as a result of actions that is not considered legal. And so what should happen, those of us is not trying to justify or trying to make excuses as to why certain things are happening, but is to ensure that it does not happen. And so if we are not culpable, if we are not one who is responsible for such actions, then we should be able to give a voice towards ensuring that it does not continue to be perpetrated, because it is illegal.
Do you eat sweet, officer? Do you eat sweet?
That's a rhetorical question. We eat anything that we choose to eat.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you put a sweet in your mouth? Would you a sweet that is wrapped in piece of plastic or piece of paper, whatever it is, the wrap? Would you take it out of the wrap, put the sweet in your mouth, and throw the sweet paper on the ground? Would you do that?
No, I would not do that.
You would not do that.
Mm.
You know, if not all, most of our citizens do that. You know that.
I get your point, caller. I get your point that it starts with an individual responsibility, but when one does not demonstrate that, and those of us who feel that it should be done, what do we do when we are witnesses of it? That is what we are trying to say.
Please allow me. My credit soon done.
Mm-hmm.
Please encourage the lawmakers to do what they ought to do. Policies, legislation to stop the nastiness. Please do that. You all have bigger work to do. So please encourage the lawmakers to do what they ought to do to put a stop in to the nastiness.
But there are laws. There are laws. That's what I'm talking about. There are laws within the Public Health Act. There are laws. You also have the Solid Waste Management Act.
Officer,
Yes.
It is not working. It is not working. Have a good day.
Okay. Thank you so much.
And you two are allowed to share your point of view. 465-1977. Let's take this next call. Good morning, you're live.
Hey, good morning, JQ.
Good morning.
Good morning, Officer McGuire.
Morning.
Now, you mentioned designated area for disposing of the waste. Two things. I have seen government departments doing work and the same material that they have no longer have use for, they dumped it in undesignated areas, because I have been in the area where the work is being done, and I have seen the materials elsewhere that they remove. The next thing is what is in place for when service is being done, and certain government departments and other service providers, they go, let's say they dig up the road, they take up an old pipe, and they left it on the side of the road. They ain't carry it somewhere, they ain't move it to say dump it somewhere that is not designated. But they're leaving these stuff as debris and other, pieces and stuff like that in the area where they work and not tidying up the area. Would you say that is in those two instances that I mentioned are in violation of the environmental management?
Yes, I agree with you, and I think that is what the caller previously was trying to say, the nastiness, which comes down to that sense of national pride and that personal individual responsibility. I think that's the point that the caller was trying to make, that if each of us have that cognitivity, that consciousness, let me be much clearer, that consciousness that we are responsible to clean up our refusal, or things that we do not consider of importance anymore, and properly dispose of it. If we develop that as a habit, then we will be well on our way in terms of not having to deal with the challenges that we are now dealing with.
He's no longer there.
Oh, he left.
Yeah, he left. He left.
Right. So, yes, GQ. I know that our time, we were talking about some challenges in terms of key challenges in terms of this situation is the detection. We agree that sometimes it's difficult, and because people are aware of that, they become more brazen. There is no consciousness of whether the likelihood of being caught, and so because of that, it gives them that that freedom to just commit just do these things.
Let me ask
so
you,
that's one of the areas that present a vulnerability.
Let me ask you this from a police standpoint, in terms of policing the issue. I know on the road you guys are doing a very good job in terms of getting the word out for a number of fractions, in terms of speeding, driving without your seatbelt, driving with a child not in a proper
the car seat,
and the list goes on and on. Do you feel the enforcement as it relates to illegal dumping is out there like that? I'm under the impression that if you are caught, you're given a slap on the wrist, meaning you are told to remove the garbage and take it to the designated area, which is the landfill, right? I'm. That's the impression I'm under. That
no, and you're right. Certain crimes, certain actions that I considered illegal in terms of the priority and the in applying the kind of seriousness or strictness to it, it might not be the same as others. Like I said, there are within the law certain ministries, the policing of these offenses or violations, let's say violations, the policing of these violations really was left up to these departments in relation to that. Take, for example, the consumer affairs, and they regulate and monitor and make sure that there is no price gouging. And so that is not a function that the police will directly do in terms of enforcement. But if there is any violation that seemingly that is crime and is something that merit prosecuting in the criminal court, it comes back to the police.
Okay.
And so, using the analogy that you drew, is that there are things that are directly related to police enforcement, and there are others that are more related, even though it have an aspect of that enforcement from the police,
Right.
but is more directly for a particular entity, government entity.
Okay.
And so it's a kind of distinction in relation to the enforcement.
Right.
And so I agree that sometime when that happens, you have lesser emphasis being placed on the enforcement, and illegal dumping is one of such
Because
examples.
you'll feel like,
Yeah.
well, hey, and if I get caught, they'll just ask them to remove the garbage.
Right. Yeah, that happens in most cases, and even litter warden, for example, they are charged with the responsibility, and there are lots of litter wardens. The effectiveness of the litter warden is another question, is another issue. What they do, what strategy do they have in place? Because some of these areas that are unauthorized for dumping, they are known. And so how are these places monitored to make sure that whether you do it covertly or overtly to ensure that persons are being caught or persons to prevent people from continuing to do it. So that is why I said issues like these really require a concentrated effort and at the same time holistic in nature to achieve the effectiveness that it needs.
We have just about 10 minutes. Can
Yes.
I ask your goal for this morning? Is it just awareness, or is this a part of a new campaign rolling over 2026?
Awareness, because it's something that remember under the program Policing With You, we identify topical issues that we recognize that has not been in focus, and the importance of it has not been given that kind of medium to be basically sensitized. And so I will say that it is awareness. But topics like these cannot be dealt with or addressed in one show or two shows. You will have to do that. And then there is follow-up action in terms of how you foster collaboration, how you ensure that the monitoring of it go. A futuristic way of really alleviating the labor-intensive nature of it is technology, of course. And technology, whatever aspect of technology is being utilized to help with the human labor. So you don't have to physically have somebody monitoring up in position. You can use cameras, you can use different other things and so forth. But is whether or not it is such a high priority that because like everything, there is a cost factor to it. And so it will come back down to a national plan or from a governmental standpoint as to the priority and the urgency that is being put to these issues. And those are some of the challenges, as I was indicating, the limited technical expertise, the lack of resources to do that, the jurisdictional overlaps in relation to that, and insufficient public awareness and things like that. The thing about public awareness, people do get the information, people do become aware, but is the action in terms of the corrective measure, that is what seems to be most challenging.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Officer Sergeant Miguel, let me make sure I give you your title.
Yeah.
I know you're an officer, but you're also a sergeant.
Yes.
I want to thank you for being here this morning.
Yes.
I know, before we go, let's take this last call.
Right.
All right, good morning. You're live.
Yes, good morning, JQ.
Good morning.
Nice to hear your voice good again. I'm
Yes,
back on the road, an officer. Yeah, it's need to be talked about it because what I noticed, right? Good topic, man. I saw down there by the bypass, and I'm observing and I walking, so I'm observing going on. And it's amazing that they cut the place and I leave them pouring a grass. Say this is a tourist attraction, is there. A lot of tourists, when they're coming from the rainforest, they drive back to there. I don't know really what's going on with these kind of things. Who doing the work, I don't know. They never used to be so. When the place cut, you will see in a time they take up the grass on them. I passed them in the country yesterday, GQ, and they're walking by 10s and 20s, and they have a truck so fast, they cut, they clean up. So I'm to the bypass, man, and they don't like that, man. And too much a patrol in the place, man, and we're paying the people in that because I enjoy it. The real people, I'm going to pay the tax. And so I'm not going to tell because where you come in late and so. You like it's so right. The place near cleaning up, you know what's up? In the morning, you used to walk out and tongue check as a child come in, it smell fresh. Train them smell fresh. Now you say, man, what it smells up? When you're passing, one to the fire people, and they suppose something at certain time of the month, they need to do it, because the blockage on, they need the drainage. Nobody could see them. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So, thank you for your call. Do you want to comment on what she just?
I think what she has highlighted is
Sufficient.
yes, it's just a matter of the agencies, the different partners supposed to see that everything that they do is there is a stake in it in terms of keeping the environment clean, and like I said, the effect of that is that it helps to alleviate the public impact or the public nature, the public health nature to it, the individual, the community. So, and as the caller talk about the tourists, because we are a tourist destination, and we should endeavor to ensure that our environment is inviting, one that is inviting and remain tranquil in terms of its scenery and so on and things like that. So each of us have a responsibility.
Yes, we do.
Yes,
we do. And thanks for bringing that topic to the table.
Yes.
Appreciate your time as usual.
Yes, and it's a pleasure being here, and so thanks for those who have waited and make it a good show.
Indeed.
Until next week.
Indeed.
We come back again. But it wouldn't be me.
I know that. I know you all would say it. I know you have different.
Yes.
And this program, I know I see a group of you. So
Yes.
I understand. I understand. Have a great day, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Wherever you are, you're tuned to ZIZ Radio. We're going to take a break, and I'll be back right after these messages.
A culinary delight with an experience like no other. This is Somalia, located on Figit Bay Strip. The music, ambience, A+ service is warm and welcoming. Each dish has a wine that complements it, having you savor the taste until the next time you visit. We also have an extensive variety of drinks to choose from and some of the best bartenders on the island. Come and have lunch with us or enjoy the amazing sunset while sitting on the deck or the beach and having dinner. Take your taste buds on a journey you will never forget. We are open Mondays, Wednesday to Saturday, the kitchen from 12 p.m. to 2:45 p.m., then reopens at 5 p.m. until. On Sundays from 4 p.m. until. Call us today at 762-9463 for reservations or more information. Somalia, where amazing delicacies and service awaits you.
Get unbeatable value you'll love. Find it only at Quartz. We've got the best range in appliances, electronics, furniture, and so much more with the best quality and the best prices. Get a free gift with purchase on select items. Save 20% on select bases when you purchase the matching mattress. Take advantage of great deals and huge savings. Treat yourself. Keep your cash with Quartz Ready Finance. Unbeatable value. Only